Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome back to Steelers Almighty. This is our All-22 episode of that Steelers beat down from the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, people. It was not pretty. We do a breakdown of the offensive line. Look, there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of talk immediately after the game by me, by you, by everybody about Russell Wilson holding the ball too long. Then there's people on the other side saying guys weren't open. The offensive line stinks. I'm going to bring you a combination of all of it and show you it wasn't all Russ. It wasn't all the line. And it wasn't always the wide receiver. So we're going to break all of that down for you guys today. So appreciate you guys being in here. Let's dive into this. So first things first, we're 1st and 10 from the Pit 37. We're in 12 personnel. We're going to give you a wide angle and an end zone angle of all of these, kind of like we always do, but we're really going to emphasize the wide angle, especially on some of these pass plays, because, I want you to see exactly what is going on. Is Russ holding it too long? Are guys not open? Are wide receivers just dogging it? Is the offensive line not giving them enough time? So this one happens to be a run play. Najee, little outside zone. I know you guys hate outside zone, but this one's actually there, people. However, one person doesn't do their job, and this is what it looks like. This is literally what it looks like. Mason McCormick, look, he struggled last week. Had a much better game this week, but this is early in the game here. There's no reason for him to be trying to help on an outside zone going the opposite direction on a 3 technique. That's the backside 3 technique. Just get on your horse and run. Instead, he hesitates trying to help on a 3 technique. That's Broderick's job. If he doesn't get it cut off, that's on him. But instead, you let the middle linebacker run through, and that's who makes the plays. Because you look at the front side of this, they got it blocked. Dan Moore has it blocked. Isaac has it blocked. Zach Frazier, he's got his guy blocked. Everybody's got doing their job except for you, McCormick. That's what I'm talking about. When Cam Hayward talks about when one guy doesn't do their job, we suck. Well, here is an example of that. I know you guys hate toss plays. I know you hate outside zone plays, especially going to Najee. There is nothing wrong with this football call here. There's nothing wrong with this play. I mean, it's fine. I mean, you want to be mad at Najee? Okay, that's fine. But he's not doing it. I mean, it doesn't matter who the running back is. If you're not going to block the run through here, they're going to tackle you for 1 yard gain. McCormick's got to do his job. Sometimes it's good as fans. We have to take a little deep dive. And that's why we're here, to help break all this down. It's not always the play call, the execution, and we have to hold these guys accountable for execution. And here, it's just as subtle as Mason McCormick just not getting on his horse and running, him hesitating to block a backside 3 technique, which is literally not his job. Instead, he hesitates just for a second. Bolton runs through, 1 yard gain. It's that simple, people. All right, let's go to the next play. This one, look, Russ holds the ball too long. 3rd and 2, Pit 38. It's literally the very next play. Russ holds this ball too long. I have no idea what he's doing. No clue. You get back to the drop here. When he gets back, you got to throw the football. You look at Pruitt coming open. Now, you could say Pickens is not open. I get that. We're in 13 personnel, so I don't necessarily like throwing out of this anyway. But you look here, Pruitt is open. You got to throw that football. That's open in the National Football League. You got to throw that football. And when Russ gets back to the top of his route, Pruitt's breaking open. You have to throw that ball. Period. End of story. Now, obviously, there are some breakdowns here with the offensive line. But this is what I'm showing you here is Russ, throw the ball. I mean, it's just that simple. You've got to throw the ball. Everybody else is covered. I'll give you that. But one guy isn't. You got to get there, and you got to throw the football. Got to throw this football, man. Even you have time to climb up in the pocket here. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. So you can't, from just when you're looking at it live, it looks, oh, man, the offensive line stinks. Not necessarily. And let's look at this from the offensive line standpoint here. Isaac is pretty good here. Better than pretty good. He's solid. You got Zach and McCormick. They're doing their job. But this is what I'm talking about. There's an opportunity for Russ to step up in the pocket here. Now don't get me wrong. Dan Moore Jr. struggled all day long. This was one of his worst games, and that's saying something. But this was one of Dan Moore's worst games of the season as far as pass protection. But he's getting driven back, but it's because his hands are too high. Look, and I mean, he gives up his chest plate because he's too high. And the guy just basically gives him one stab long arms because his hands are high. Okay. He goes to knock him down. And then you notice when he re-engages, his hands are high and outside. Well, when your hands are high and outside, you give up leverage. He does, and gets driven back directly into the quarterback. It's just not a good pass pro here. When your hands are on outside shoulders, you're going to get driven back. On the other side, Broderick is the exact same way. Broderick the same way. Again, Broderick's feet get in good position, but on the initial punch, he's late. He lets Karnopoulos get into his chest. And when he does that, he gets bullied. And then he gets long-armed and driven back. Now, McCormick helps and saves him, and he tries to recover somewhat. But, man, and this started off early. But, again, the main problem with this play, people, don't let me fool you or anybody else fool you. Russell Wilson's got to throw the ball on this one, and there was somebody open. It's a sack, and the technique by the tackles was terrible. But Russell Wilson has to throw the football here. All right, next play. We're on 2nd and 8 from the Pitt 25. 11 personnel. Good football play right here, people. It's a good design by Arthur Smith. He basically is influencing that this is going to be an inside zone when in all actuality, it's an outside zone. And you know this. Look at Najee's track when he's going to get this football. This is outside zone all the way. All the way. Nothing but outside zone. But you notice the blockers. Look at Van Jefferson. Him stepping inside to influence. The same thing with Washington. They're stepping inside to influence like this is sort of an inside zone. And they do just enough for Najee to be able to get the edge. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to influence you. Hey, I'm stepping inside. Maybe the play's going this way. It isn't. And he goes outside. This is an outside zone with an inside gap influence. I love the design here by Arthur Smith. We can be mad at Arthur Smith when we need to be mad at him. We also need to give credit when it's opportunity to give credit. Good job by Zach Frazier. He gets through the mesh there and gets up on the middle linebacker, so the middle linebacker's having to run around him. Najee does a good job. Look, I've said this before. We get our running backs one-on-one with the corner. I'm going to take our chances on our backs. I'm going to take it all day long. And Najee does a good job here of just getting around him. Good influence. You see, even on the backside, Dan Moore and Isaac run into each other. They're really influencing this backside. I like Zach Frazier here, too. Like I said, he gets in. McCormick does his job. Good little influence, kind of an influence trap type of a deal. Broderick does a good job here. I'd like to see him drive his feet a little bit more. He's still high, but Broderick stays high, man. That's what you got to get in the lab. We got to get Broderick bending at the hips more and bending the knees. But he stays high, but does a good job, though. This guy's not making the play. But I think Broderick can put this guy on his back if he just drives his feet. If he just drives his feet, I think the guy goes on his back. So either way, this is a good football play by the Pittsburgh Steelers right here. All right. So next up, we're 2nd and 2 from the Pitt 47. We're in 11 personnel. Little 5-yard gain right here. I like the play. I like this. Initially, the Chiefs, they don't know who's supposed to be in, who's supposed to be out. We get to play. We run it. Blocked back by Washington. I'd like to see him be a little more physical. He ducks his head at the point of attack. So I'd like to see him be a little bit more physical, keep his head up here. But the thing that I really like on this play that had been lacking the last couple of weeks, guys, is our double team blocks. We had been soft on double team blocks at the point of attack, so much so that we were eliminating the push that you need to get on double teams and just trying to get off on the backer immediately. Well, that must have been a point of emphasis this week, because look at Dan Moore and Isaac on their double team. They completely eliminate that defensive end. They just drive him right out of the play, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. Take him to the linebacker. That's literally what you're supposed to do. And then the same thing with Frazier and McCormick. McCormick has been real bad on double teams over the last month. But here, they get hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder, and they literally spin the nose out of the way. Because he's like, okay, I don't want to go to the ground. I'm going to spin out of the play. Okay, great. He spins right out of the play. You know, now I get it. Frazier's guy makes the tackle, but that's because Dan Moore drive their defensive ends so far, Dan and Isaac, into Frazier and bumps him so he can't get the backer. I mean, nothing you can do there. I mean, but I'll take the movement and the 5-yard gain and just say, okay, next time you see Frazier's a little frustrated, man, there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do here. But like I said, I'll take the 5-yard gain and I'll take the movement on a double team all day long. Nothing you can do, Frazier, when somebody's being driven to you. You're trying to get the guy, but it is what it is. Again, another solid football play. The Steelers ran the ball. This is early in the game. We're down 13-0 in the second quarter. When the Steelers were running the football early, it looked good. It looked good. And this is one of those instances where it looked good. So 1st and 10, KC 33. We're in 13 personnel here. Chiefs got a lot of guys committed to the line of scrimmage, 7, and they got a safety that's walking down here, as you see, trying to come down and sneak down late, trying to get that 8th guy in the box. Outside zone. Now, this is one you guys like. You want outside zone going to Jaylen Warren. Look, I'm going to give credit to our man Mason McCormick here. It starts with his footwork. He doesn't take a false step. He doesn't get the guy all the way reached, but he stays engaged. And sometimes when you stay engaged, those guys get frustrated and they try to get around you, which is exactly what McCormick wanted him to do. He just stays attached to him and keeps moving and keeps moving and keeps moving. So then the guy tries to go out the back door. Great. That's what I want you to do. I want you to go out the back door. It's a good block here by McCormick. Like I said, we've been on him the last month. He had a good game against the Chiefs. He just did. He just did. Look at our man, Darnell Washington and Broderick. That's exactly what you're looking for. The guy gets laid off the ball. That gives us an easy reach. Wash gets to the linebacker. Broderick reaches his guy. Want to see him be more physical here. But, I mean, one arms him 5 yards down the field. What else is there? Lets him out the back door late. Running back should already be through that. Same thing with Zach Frazier. Zach Frazier, like, overcommits, and then the guy kind of goes out the back door. He gets a hold of him a little bit there around the waist. Probably should have been holding, but I'll take it. Doesn't matter. Pruitt does a good job. There's the alley. The problem on this play, again, if everybody does their job, 10 people do their job and one person doesn't, we suck. This is an 11-yard gain, people, that should have been a touchdown. Pat Freiermuth, just get in the way, my man. Just get in the way. You don't even have to block the guy. Just get in his way. Just get in his way. And that's a corner. You can't get in his way. We're not asking you to drive a defensive end 4 yards off the line of scrimmage by yourself. We're just asking you to get in the way of a cornerback here. That's all we're asking you to do. If he does, tell me this isn't a touchdown from Jaylen Warren. He hits this thing going a million miles an hour down the hill. If that guy doesn't slow him up, that safety's not making that tackle. Instead, he trips him up, and then he gets blown up for his trouble. But Jaylen Warren hits that thing downhill. The safety is taking a bad angle. He don't catch him. It's a touchdown, man. It's a daggone touchdown. Ugh. But it's still an 11-yard gain. Offensive line gets a ton of credit. But come on, Muth. Just get in the way, man. And you see him at the end. He points to himself. That's on me. That's on me. We know it's on you. But just block the guy. Just get in his way. Just get in his way. So here we are again, 1st and 10 from the Pittsburgh 30-yard line. 12 personnel. Now, this one is a two-man route by the Steelers, which I hate. I might add. Anything, a 2-yard or two-man route on anything but down on the goal line, I can't stand. Just can't stand it. The Steelers, they go big personnel, or they kind of big personnel. They go play action. Now, you look and see Russ at the top of the drop here. Play action. When he gets back, who's open? Like, where is he supposed to throw this football? There's two men on this route. Pickens is not open. Okay? Calvin Austin is not open. So that's the thing. This is one of those times, okay, I get back to the top of my route. Pickens is running a corner route. That's about as covered as it gets. Now, you could say Calvin Austin is breaking towards the middle of the field. Bolton is right there. Not to mention he's got a guy in his hip pocket. Calvin Austin is not open. You know, he can't throw that football. And there's no check down. Like, the check down's not out there. Check down's even covered. D. Lyman bails out and takes the check down. Where's Russ supposed to go? Now, I will say Russ can climb in the pocket here. Sometimes you got to know, I got a two-man route. I got to get out of here. If they're not open, I got to step up in the pocket, and maybe it's a 1-yard loss versus a 6-yard loss. But I got to do something. And he hesitates. You got to step up because there's plenty of room to step up in this pocket. Plenty of room. However, I don't want to put all this on Russ. I mean, there's Darnell Washington is bad. This is a terrible rep by him. Look, not TJ. JJ Watt did a good job on the telecast breaking down some of these blocking techniques when guys were getting sacks. This was one of those he talked about with Darnell Washington. High risk, high reward. Trying to stand and just knock a guy's arms down. Well, yeah, when it works, it's great. But when it doesn't, it's terrible. This one, not exactly what the Steelers are looking for with this rep. It doesn't move his feet. He tries to knock the man's arms down. It doesn't work, and he stops his feet from moving. I can even see doing that if you're going to knock his arms down and you keep your feet moving. But he doesn't. He just turns, he pivots, and he tries to knock his arms down. The man only gives him one arm to begin with. He goes right around him, sack. Everybody else is fine. Like I said, when Russ hesitates, and you see it from the end zone view, when Russ hesitates, there's an opportunity to step up. Not necessarily throw the ball because nobody's open here. But he can step up. There's a hole there to step up in the pocket. Maybe that gives him an extra second to throw it to somebody else. Russ has got to step up here. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to step up in the pocket when it's initially not there. You can't just stand, especially when they give you the pocket. But let's make no mistake. Darnell Washington this is just not what you're looking for. He lets him go right around him. He turns his shoulders, and Russ gets sacked. So you can say Russ needs to step up. He has nobody open. And this is one of those times. Who do you put the blame on? Nobody's open. Okay? And not even the check down is open. Russ doesn't step up in the pocket when clearly you can see there's an opportunity. Offensive line also lets him down. Poor technique. So it's a disaster, but who gets the most blame here? I'll let you guys get in the comments and decide. Because this is one of those plays. It's like, man, Russ, you got to step up. But even if you step up, nobody's open, and then the offensive line lets you down. So just a complete disaster on this play by the Steelers. All right. We're second and 11. 11 personnel from the Pittsburgh 41-yard line here. Ooh. I think Russ got to get rid of this football. I think he's got to get rid of it. You see the sideline view here. Gets back to the top of his drop. George Pickens is wide open. Okay? Now, he's not looking that direction, but George Pickens is wide open. And not only is George Pickens wide open, George Pickens is wide open from basically as soon as Russ starts to drop back. They're in two deep. We got three. I don't know why he's looking the backside one-on-one. There's not open. That's not where I would be looking, especially when that route is a curl route coming back towards the inside. Pickens is on a flag route. He's open. Never gets to there. Never gets there. And this one, I'm going to put on Russ. I mean, Pickens should be your number one option no matter what we're doing. Okay? That should be your number one guy that I'm trying to throw the football to at all times. I get it. We're in 11 personnel, but Pickens has to be your guy. And in this case, the man's wide open. He's wide open. And when we get to the end zone shot of this, you're going to see it. When he gets his arm hit, Russ is not throwing the ball to Pickens here. He's trying to take a deep shot down to Calvin Austin, which is not open. It is covered, which I think is crazy. Like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? And we get lined up. Looks like the Chiefs are bringing everybody. Steelers do a good job initially of picking everybody up. And you see again, when you get to the top of the drop here, there's places to step up here. I'm not saying he's got to step up and run, but sometimes it's about manipulating the pocket. And he had an opportunity here, but you see George Pickens is open. He's open, and he doesn't throw the ball. He's trying to throw this ball deep down the middle of the field. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you might say when you see the end zone view, maybe he's trying to throw it to Connor Hayward. No, he's not. No, he's not. And Connor Hayward is going to come open. But here's the thing. Rush, you got to manipulate the pocket. Step up and throw the football. Terrible. But, Broderick Jones. Come on, man. Come on. I mean, Broderick, like I mentioned in the report card, Broderick was really good in the run game. He was just as good as he was in the run game. He was just as bad in pass protection against the Chiefs. Here, zero punch. And there's the thing about Broderick. He's usually hardly ever not in good position. That's the one thing. He is almost always in the proper position in pass pro because he's so athletic. He gets to where he needs to be. Now, after the contact or on initial contact is where it all breaks down. Because the first thing is he's standing straight up. That's the one thing. And then when he gets back in the pass pro here, he has zero punch. I mean, zero punch. He's like he's trying to break down a guy and he just leans on him. Well, that's not going to get it done, man. You can't just lean on somebody in pass protection, but look at him. He has no punch. He just leans on the guy. Well, a guy gets outside leverage, breaks his outside arm, rips through, causes a hit on the quarterback. Inside three are excellent. Not good, excellent. You know, I don't know. It's disheartening. Again, one guy, because here's where Dan Moore is actually pretty good. And he wasn't good at all in pass pro in this game. In this particular rep, he is. But then Broderick let you down. But having said all of that, this is one of those times for the people that are saying, Russ, you got to get rid of the football. This is one of those times. Russ, you got to get rid of the football. You had way more than enough time to get rid of this football here. And I know there's going to be some people say, no, he didn't. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. We got to be honest. We got to be honest. Gets to the top of his drop. If he slides up just a little, he can throw this football. But he doesn't do it. He just stands back there and waits, and then they get there. Not to mention his read was wrong. George Pickens was wide open, and he doesn't go that direction. Next play here. Look again when Russ at the top of his drop on this one. We're 3rd and 9, Pitt 41. It's literally the next play, 11 personnel. Russ is like Houdini here and gets out of this. But look when he gets to the top of his drop, there is nobody open. I mean, he gets to the top of his drop and he's going to throw the ball, but there is nobody to throw this football to. Nobody is open. But heck, they're still running down the field, which to me, that's a timing issue. Like, how are they still running down the field? I mean, some of these routes, I'm just like, man, what is going on here? Now, granted, he doesn't get enough time, and I'm going to show you why, But I think there's nothing for him to do here. There's nobody open. This one, come on, wide receivers. Now, you could say the check down is open, but it's 3rd and 9. He's trying to get the first down. I'm at the top of my drop. I shouldn't have to throw it to the check down immediately. But I guess he would have to. But, yeah, these guys are not open when he's ready to throw the football. So then he makes a Houdini act and gets out of there. But, again, Broderick Jones, man, is this bad. Whew. This is not what Steeler fans are looking forward to. If he's going to be our future left tackle, which I'm not convinced that he is, we can't look like this. Sheesh. Come on, man. Just a spin move. It's the same things with Broderick. He's high. He lunges at the guy. He just literally just lunges versus setting and pressing. He lunges, and as soon as he lunges, his feet come together. Because, again, initially Broderick's in good spot, but his feet come together. He doesn't crab when he's in pass pro, so he's not shuffling. And as soon as they come together, you're out of position. So when you're out of position, whether you know that the spin move is coming or not, when your feet are out of position, you can't do anything about it. And he gets spun on, just spinning like a top. And he can't recover at all. Man, it's just a poor rep. 3 inside guys are good. Man, Mason McCormick doing yeoman's work here. Cuts off the twist on the inside, does a decent job passing, but saves a sack by just that subtle little push at the end. That subtle push. Got to give him credit because, again, we've been on his case the last couple of weeks. Well, when he does it right, we got to give him his credit. And even Dan Moore on the opposite side. Yeah, he stays in front, but he's getting driven back into the quarterback too. And the pass rusher just stops because Russ moves. But inside guys are really good here and gives an escape path. Give the award to McCormick for saving the sack here because he does. First down, Steelers. So this one, 3rd and 5. This is a bad one by Russ here. This one is all on him. It's 3rd and 5. We're at the Kansas City 12-yard line. We're in 11 personnel. All on Russell Wilson here, people. See the sideline view. I know you're thinking immediate pressure up the middle. Jaylen Warren handles that. It's blocked. His problem is he looks at George Pickens. He never comes off George Pickens. First off, from the snap, Mike Williams is wide open. Immediately, Mike Williams is wide open. Okay? They run a natural pick, and he's wide open. Okay? He can catch that ball, get upfield, first down. George Pickens is half-heartedly even running this route. Look at that. He's never engaged. If you just look at Pickens on this play, he is never engaged in this route. And they're almost daring you to throw the corner route, and they don't because he gets stacked up but Russ never comes off of him. Even if he comes off of him, Mike Williams is open. Throw it to him. Then you see late, Freiermuth open. But he comes off Pickens way late. He never comes off of him. And Freiermuth is open. Williams was open. Heck, you could even have taken your chances down at the bottom of the screen with Calvin Austin. Guys are open, man. This one's on Russ. Now, let's take a little deeper dive and see what the offensive line did on this play. First off, you get immediate pressure right up the middle, but Jaylen Warren handles it. And I know Russ sees that, but he's handled. Jaylen Warren takes his guy and knocks him literally from one hash to the next. So that's handled. Isaac is real lazy here, though. Isaac gets lulled to sleep. And because his guy stops, and he allows him to make the sack. He just lulls him to sleep. Which is surprising. Isaac didn't have his best day either. And some people are going to say, well, maybe he got clipped a little bit. No, he doesn't. He's lazy, doesn't move his feet. He drops his outside leg like he's been doing the last few weeks in pass pro, and he just gets beat. Dan Moore Jr. never gets his guy under control. Never does. He's reaching. Look at him reaching. He's just reaching, hoping and praying. Doesn't get in position. That's his problem, is that he is usually never in position in pass pro. Doesn't get in position. Guy runs wide. He doesn't sit and punch. Doesn't let the guy come to him. He goes to try to reach out for him versus just moving your feet. You've got to move your feet and keep them in front. And I know some people are saying, well, you can't do it, Big B. They don't pay me millions of dollars to pay a 49-year-old to be able to do it either. So, no, I can't. But I can tell you what I see and what I know. And that's the thing here. He's just got to move his feet, man, and he doesn't. But again, great pass pro by Jaylen Warren. Lord have mercy. He sees it. He goes to run out, but then he sees it and he comes back, and that's how you teach it, people. That's how you teach it. But yeah, Dan Moore never gets his guy under control. Russ can't run out of there. Isaac gets lazy with the pass set. Even backside, you look at Broderick here. Broderick gives up the inside. Broderick, again, with zero punch. Gets saved by McCormick, and because Warren blows his guy up over into him. Just a real lazy effort by Isaac and Broderick Jones here. Dan Moore gets beat physically. Those guys, it was just lazy effort. Just a lazy effort. Man. But when you see it, even from the back view, you see Mike Williams running free. I'm like, throw the football. This one, to me, is on Russ. Get in the comments and let me know what you guys think. But Russ gets to the top of his drop. You look from the back, from the end zone view, Russ is looking left, and he never comes off of it. He never does. I'm like, man, you should see immediately that George Pickens, number one, isn't open, and he's giving you no effort on the route. Go somewhere else with the ball. Soon as he looks, he's out. Look somewhere else, throw the ball there. He never comes off of it, though. And Russell Wilson should know better, people. He should know better. Been doing this way too long. All right. This one, again, I believe Russ is late here. Gets to the top of his drop. Got to take the check down. Got to take the check down. Now, he's going to get a hit on this play. Step up, take the check down. You know, I'm not. Some people would say you look at the sideline view, throw the ball to Van Jefferson. That's tough. That's a tough throw. It's even a tougher catch. They're in cover two. Van Jefferson is going to take a hit. Now, they pay you to make those tough catches. Don't get me wrong. But that's a tough throw there into traffic. A lot of coverage. Bottom of the screen, Pickens is not open. Again, they're playing trail technique with the safety over the top. They're begging you to throw, the whole moon ball. But even then, maybe you give Pickens an opportunity. It's not like he can't make those catches. You give him an opportunity because he gives you room on the sideline. He gives you plenty of space, but that's cover two, a trail technique. They're baiting you into throwing that football and saying our safety is going to get there in time. You probably still give George Pickens an opportunity here. But Russ has got to throw the football. You got to throw it. You got to throw it somewhere. Either you throw it to Jefferson over the middle and maybe he gets lit up. You give Pickens an opportunity or you hit the check down. Something has to happen. What happened can't happen, which is another sack. Because you had plenty of time to make a decision. Plenty of time. Now, having said all of that, again, offensive line, Dan Moore Jr., what are you doing? In position. You influence the outside rush, but as soon as contact is ready to get there, you're bent over at the hips. You're bent at the waist. You can't pass block people bent at the waist. I mean, I don't know where he learned that. I'm pretty sure, even though we don't like Pat Myers, the offensive line coach, you didn't learn it from him. Because if he's teaching that, Lord have mercy. But when you bend at the waist, you give an opportunity for the offensive lineman to do what? Get his hands on your shoulder pads. And that's exactly what he does. And pulls him down. He controls you. You don't punch. Then you stop your feet. Because even at that, if you can keep your feet moving and stay in position, But you don't. You get out of position, you get off balance, and he gets right around you, turns your shoulders, and it ends up in a sack. And here, Russ, I guess he could stand up or, move up in the pocket. He could step up and help a little bit. There's an opportunity here. But first of all, you got to throw the football, got to make a decision. But even if he doesn't step up in the pocket, he's got to throw the ball. But Dan Moore, come on, man. It just, again, I keep going back to it because the rest of the line is really good. Broderick, look at Darnell Washington. Broderick's not blocking anybody, but he's looking around. He's looking around to help. Our man McCormick is handling his guy one-on-one. Now I know his guy's not a big pass rusher, but that guy's not off the line of scrimmage. Isaac and Zach got their men handled. I mean, and not only did we have one check down guy, we have two that are open. Calvin Austin, why Calvin Austin on this play? Come on, Arthur Smith. Why do you have Calvin Austin inside? And maybe he's trying to get a free release and he's not able to. I get it. But there's two guys there that he could have thrown the ball to, and he doesn't. Step up, throw the football. But Dan Moore Jr., that's just pathetic, man. It just is. I'm sorry. I tried to defend Dan Moore as much as I could this season, but the last half of the season is exactly what it was the previous seasons with him. He's just been terrible. So I appreciate everybody joining in here, man. I wanted to, again, we're doing a little bit more sideline view on this one because I wanted to show everybody the difference in whose responsibility, who was at fault. Was it Russ holding the ball too long? Was it the offensive line not giving them enough time? Was it the wide receivers? I think in this all-22 breakdown, it gives you an illustration of all of it. Sometimes it was all three on one play. Sometimes it's the line. Sometimes it's Russ. Sometimes it's just the receivers. So I thought it was important. I know we like to place blame. I'm one of those people that like to place blame. Sometimes it was everybody. It's just a bad game against the Kansas City Chiefs all the way around. From the offensive play calling to the execution, it just wasn't there. And even then, on the effort, it just wasn't there by the Steelers, man. So I appreciate everybody, again, joining and liking this video, commenting on this video. Continue to do that. If you haven't subscribed and you're here, please make sure you subscribe to Steelers Almighty. We absolutely appreciate it. Until next time, we will talk to you soon.